Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. What happened yesterday? It was absolutely wild. So as you guys know, the SwapX pre-sale for the NFT launch, the founders NFTs, went live yesterday at around noon Eastern. It actually went live at exactly noon Eastern, which is super nice that things launch on time. The timelines on this and the commitments that the developer, BB, and the rest of the team have given for specific timelines of when anything's going to launch or when an AMA is going to start or whatever have been spot on. So that's been a breath of fresh air because that's not super common in this space. But yesterday was just something to behold. So pretty interesting. 3,000 NFTs were available. You had a handful of content creator spots where people could go in, sign up, and basically get a guaranteed spot on the list to be able to go and buy whatever amount of NFTs they requested. So the team did the math on, what people signed up for. If they said, hey, I'm going to get one NFT or two, a little bit of variable either way, because, a couple people who, bought one or said they were going to buy one or two ended up buying three. And on the other hand, in this space, there's always people that fall out. Yeah, I'm going to buy five, and they bought zero. So we knew that was going to happen to some degree, and I just didn't know how successful this pre-sale was going to go. So the first stage of it, of course, was supposed to last 24 hours for anybody who had actually got on a content creators list, and then it would go into first come, first serve for people who signed up using the Google form. I was on a business call yesterday till about 12:10 p.m. Eastern time, so about 10 minutes after the launch started. And I didn't really think anything of it, so I just jumped over, wanted to buy my 10. As soon as I landed on the web page, I was looking down here about how many NFTs were sold, and it was already at 2,000 or 3,000 in like the first 10 or 15 minutes. So I was like, whoa, how is that even possible? Not only is this thing not going to last a couple of days, it's not even going to last a couple of hours at this rate. So I was quickly able to get in and purchase mine. As I've discussed in the past, we were able to pull together and get just a few for the Futopian treasury. I had people hit me up in the DMs immediately, having little issues or whatever, needing to transfer cryptocurrency around. Some of my buddies were literally texting me saying, I'm on-ramping the money right now. I'm like, you better hurry because you're not going to have very long to get this done. So all in all, I know there's a good handful of people that were on my list that did not get theirs. And what that means, how they got sold out so quickly, and we didn't even get through the day. It took about 2 hours to sell 3,000 of these NFTs. And so clearly the people who had originally come in and said, hey, I'm going to buy one or two, they maxed out their wallets and bought 10. I know there was a bunch of hype about this protocol and a bunch of FOMO. I thought it was going to do really well. As I've said in many videos, if you go look back on my YouTube channel and it says this is your last chance, be ready, all that kind of stuff. I said very clearly that this thing would never make it out of pre-sale and get to the public sale. There's a good handful of people that doubted me and thought 3,000 is a lot, especially at 560 a piece, just shy of a couple $1,000,000. But I truly thought the hype was there, and clearly it was to a degree that I wasn't even prepared for. And I don't even think the team is ready for all this stuff to sell out within a couple hours. So a lot of people that, again, committed to one or two ended up buying 10, and this thing was almost sold out immediately. So I feel super, super thankful to be able to have gotten into this. Glad I was at my computer at that time because I thought at least we'd get through the first day and it would get into a little bit of day two. So I really was not in a rush to buy mine. I thought, hey, maybe I'll buy 5 now, let some of the money I've got building up in the farm build up for another half a day, and then I'll take it out. So luckily I was at my computer and be able to pop it up. Notice that there was already 2,000 gone. I was like, I gotta get these right now. I had to call my dad, make sure that he got his. That took a little while because he's not as fast with the crypto stuff as I am, particularly when you're doing it over the phone. And the one buddy of mine who was on-ramping his crypto, we literally got his purchased in like the last 10 minutes before they got sold out. So there was like 30 left when he picked up his 3. So the hype around this thing was absolutely insane. So big congratulations to everyone who got in, super exciting. There's a lot of people who didn't, and I imagine that they're a little bit frustrated right now, particularly because I know a lot of people got that ETH on BSC just sitting in their wallet kind of waiting, and now they got to do something with that currency. ETH is super bullish right now, so not the worst idea to hold that for a little while. I also think that there's a lot more money making opportunities with this protocol. Just because you didn't get a founder's NFT does not mean that's the end of the road. SwapX in itself is going to be a very bullish protocol because it's a DEX. There's going to be a lot of ways to stake. There's going to be a lot of ways to farm. Lots of different ways to make money, but don't forget, I think it's really important, the tokenomics behind even what they're doing with the NFTs and how they're locking up a really good portion of the tokens. I think the token itself is really bullish. So if you didn't get into the pre-sale, as far as the fundraise on the NFTs, consider doing some research on the SwapX token itself. Because if we can pick up a bunch of those tokens early on, I would not be surprised in the least bit to see this thing 2 or 3x. Now, of course, none of this is financial advice. I'm just throwing out some possible numbers, but there's several factors here that I think are important. One of those factors is OKX, the actual centralized exchange, has 55 million active users, something like that. So there's a good amount of people over there that may need decentralized exchange services, type services. So we will get a percentage of the market share from OKX. It's going to happen no matter what. Some of those folks need a decentralized exchange, and we can be that for them. Now, there's probably going to be other exchanges that launch. It's really going to come down to how efficient, how fast, how cost effective, and what kind of awesome partnerships we have. And I know BB and the team are working on that heavily. So with this being a top performing protocol as far as its ease of use and all that, it's also ready. So as soon as the chain's ready, we're going to be able to launch on there. So it's going to be, people are going to be able to access it immediately, kind of giving us maybe a first mover's advantage. We're at least going to be up there with the top couple other dexes that are launching. And BB has been in direct talks with the team. So if that goes well and turns into some sort of long partnership, then that could be really fruitful in bringing people over. So don't sleep on the SwapX token. Once Binance opened their chain and a lot of dexes started opening up, Binance coin went wild. So don't sleep on OKB. That token price could really rally as well. And in general, like I said, there's going to be a bunch of different ways to make additional funds actually using the SwapX platform. So if you didn't get in for some reason, you weren't here in front of your computer for those 2 hours, then all is not lost. You do have other opportunities to make money, which I think is super exciting. Obviously, this is the type of platform that we're all waiting for. We all really like. Everyone loves PancakeSwap and the availability of different money-making opportunities on the platform. So this could be the new PancakeSwap or Uniswap or whatever of the layer X or X layer, whatever they're calling it. But for those of you who did pick up an NFT, at least one of them, let's show you the math, because I actually did this on a previous video where I showed my little grid or whatever, the possible money-making opportunities depending on the fees. So I'll just show you that so you can kind of get hyped. These numbers are all hypothetical, but if we take a look at some of the smaller dexes and what type of fees they're producing on pretty limited volume, these numbers are all super, super realistic. And then if this were ever to get to the PancakeSwap, Uniswap level, Radium level, then we're talking about big, big numbers if you've got a handful of NFTs here. So this should look familiar to you guys. If you've watched my recent videos, if you haven't, go back and watch them all and like them and share them just so I get some additional views. But here's the easy breakdown. Simple math. $1 million in fees. NFT holders for the first 3 months get 20% of those, so $200,000. You divide that $200,000 by the 3,000 NFTs that are available. That gives you $66.67 per NFT. And if you happen to hold 10 of them, this little field here is editable. If you hold 10 of them, $666.67 per month. Now these payouts are actually going to happen weekly, so just take this as kind of a general guideline, if you will, as far as funds. But it would not take much at all for us to get to like this $1-2 million in fees range. Now these are for the first 3 months, so in my estimation it'll kind of scale up, right? We'll have a slow first month, maybe. Slow is relative. Next month it should pick up, the next month it should pick up. And the reason as that volume picks up, the percentage that we actually get as NFT holders lowers. So first 3 months, 20%, second 3, 15. And from month 7 on to eternity, as long as this thing lasts, we'll get 10% of the fees. So what do I think is going to happen? I actually feel really bullish about this one. I think it might come out pretty hot. I think BB's a nice, genuine guy. He may be able to create some good partnerships, maybe with the OKX team and some of the other stuff that they're announcing. So I think it might come out hot. And I think we have a really, really good shot at becoming the preferred DEX. So I see us kind of landing in this range in month one, and then working its way up in this lower range. So whether that's 1 or 2 million or 5 or 6 million, as you can see here, the math works out pretty clean. That if you got 10 NFTs and we're doing say 6 million in month 2 or month 3, that's $4,000 a month. So that's pretty solid. At that rate, you'd be able to ROI on your NFTs within the first 3 months. Next, I think we'll shift up and slowly work to a little bit higher volume. Of course, this is at the 15%. So depending on what that is, maybe it's 7 or 8 million. With the reduction in the percentage, that could be $3,500 to $4,000 a month. Now for month 7 on, just depends on where we're at. Maybe people realize the X layer is really bullish and there's a lot of great things to do on there, and there's a lot of great dApps and farms and everything, and people start flooding in. What do people need? They need an exchange to be able to swap out currencies, try different things. Some dApps may take Ethereum on X layer or USDC on X layer or whatever. Anytime you've got to get those different currencies, you got to swap, and those swaps create fees. And in addition to that, if you've got SwapX or OKB or whatever it is, you might be able to stake it on platforms, earn some money with it, farming, all types of things like that. Again, all that stuff that happens on SwapX is going to create additional fees, which should boost up. We're also working our way into a bull market, so this would be kind of toward the end of the year. The Bitcoin halving is in like a week now, so that's really bullish. Really don't know what's going to happen to the crypto markets after that. With institutional capital in, you could see some weird pumps and dumps. The cycle's a little bit different from ones in the past, but if it's anything like the ones in the past, after the halving, things start to ramp up and it just goes absolutely crazy. And with institutional capital in, if it does that, we should see some absolutely astronomical prices. We're already at an all-time high this year. Halving hasn't even happened, and people are barely starting to dabble back into crypto. So I say all that to say this: I think we're going to ramp up, and as the bull market starts roaring, our fees are going to be a lot higher. People are going to be trying to get into everything. So month 7 and on, we could be in that 15 to 20 million range. At 15, that's $5,000 a month. That's also in the SwapX token. You'll be paid out in the dollar relationship to what the SwapX token is worth at that point. So if you're getting paid a bunch of SwapX tokens early on and you stake those and the SwapX 3Xs, now you're talking about a lot more money that you got available in there that you can play around with. So this thing is incredibly bullish. Also the voting rights and all that are going to come along with this. So this VE tokens, we're going to be looking at some crazy, crazy numbers if this thing does well, and it has a really good potential to do well. Even frankly, if it doesn't do that well, like 6 million after 6 months or so, wouldn't be a lot for a DEX. It's a fairly small DEX. It's $2,000 a month on the 10 NFTs. So even if it's doing low volume, this thing lasts for 10 years, you're making $2,000 a month for the next 10 years. That's probably relatively close to most people's mortgage payment or house payment. So not too shabby, not even counting the staking and all that stuff. This little calculator down here would be after 6 months, so 7 and on, and this is just the moonshot calculator. If we were ever to get to like Uniswap numbers, or even like, let's talk about, what is that, $50 million, which I think that's around what PancakeSwap's doing right now. On 10 NFTs, $16,000 plus. If we got to 100 million, that'd be like $33,000. So as you can see, those numbers are crazy. Obviously, those are moonshot numbers, and that would be if we were either the number 1 or number 2 DEX for X layer, and there was a ton of volume going on and all that. But it's completely possible. There's absolutely no reasons we can't be the next PancakeSwap. Like I said, those are PancakeSwap numbers. PancakeSwap, of course, has their own cake token, which has gone up a ton since they launched it. So if you imagine you're getting SwapX tokens right now for 20 cents a piece, that's apparently what it's supposed to launch at. Imagine getting a bunch of those tokens, staking it, using the rewards to be able to collect fees and everything, and leaving most of the principal there, and then the SwapX token going to $1, $2, $3, $4 in the bull run. You'd be talking about absolutely insane gains at that point. So I don't want to hang out too much in the Moonboy category. Obviously, it's super fun to think about that stuff. If you picked up 10 NFTs, then these numbers are valid. If you want to see real quick what it looks like with 5, obviously you could have just cut those in half. Many of you guys only got 1 or 2, so if there's only 1 NFT, we'll show this here just so you can pause it and look at the screen and look at your numbers. But 1 NFT was around $600 after fees, like more like $570. It just depends if you had to on-ramp or whatever. Somewhere between $550 and $600. So if you look at these numbers over time, I'm estimating, even if it doesn't come out that hot, everyone for sure should ROI in that 4 to 6 month range. And then after that, it's all profit, which would be a really good investment. When you're talking about real estate investments or stock investments, different stuff in your portfolio, if you could make your money back in under 6 months, and then everything else after that would be profits, pretty phenomenal investment. So that's where we're at. It's really going to be really interesting to see where this thing goes. I know they're coming out with announcements. I don't know what date we're actually going to be able to mint our NFTs. I know that there are some platinum NFTs which give you a bunch of extra tokens, which would just be a huge come up if you guys mint one of those. There's some gold ones which gives you 5,000 extra SwapX tokens. So again, a nice boost. It's like $1,000 at the 20 cent launch price. So some of you guys may have bought an NFT worth $600 and you happen to mint a platinum and you get about $2,000 in SwapX tokens right out the gate. So super exciting stuff. Anyway, super pumped about this one. If you guys can't tell, I plan on making a lot of content on this because it's not just a simple linear platform, if you will, where you can only do one thing. There's going to be several different ways to play it, different strategies. I'm going to bucket my stuff kind of all differently. So maybe I have some high risk ways to lean, and then I've got some lower long-term stuff that might not yield as much, but maybe in the long run it will. But I'll make a ton of content on it and we'll have fun with this one. Thank you guys all for watching. I do want to give a special shout out to the team. BB, Ricky, Lady Mania. Whole team's been phenomenal through this process. Their communication's been spot on. Everything worked exactly like it was supposed to. Everything went live exactly when it was supposed to. The demand was way higher than I thought it was going to be, and I already had pretty high expectations. So if that gives any indication of what we're going to be looking at here in the future, this one could be a banger. So please show some love down in the comments if you don't mind. Let's boost this out to a lot of people. I always appreciate you guys watching the content, and I hope you're having a great week. Happy investing.